Hello and welcome to another advanced skeleton video. This time we're gonna look at the updates to the corrective shape feature. In the interface we can only see one new item, which is this checkbox for angle rotations, but there are actually more updates that lets us do a variety of things, such as use any control as a driver and use multiple controls as drivers. So let's start at looking at what is an angle rotation. Angle rotations is a workaround for the fact that normal rotations are quite complicated. A quick way to see the complicated nature of ordinary rotations is to set your rotation tool to gimbal mode and start applying some rotations. And you'll quickly find that for one of your rotation axes, as you approach it 90 degrees, you are losing an angle of rotation. In this case, we no longer have any way of rotating this way, what used to be the z-axis, because the z-axis is now aligned with the x-axis. Note that in the attribute editor you can change the rotation order, which determines which of your axes that runs into this phenomenon, which by the way is called gimbal lock. This phenomenon makes it hard to pose and animate the character, so we'll switch the rotation tool back to local rotation mode. And you'll see that the rotation tool now has an axis where there previously was missing one. However, look what happens to the actual numbers for the rotation values as I apply rotation in this direction. You can see with very little rotation applied, the numbers are making huge value jumps. Essentially because the tool is recalculating a way of applying rotations that will give you the pose that you're trying to set. If you wanted to use one of these values to drive something else, for example driving a corrective shape from the rotate Z of the shoulder, you can see that this would not work very well. The corrective shape would essentially jump on and off, as opposed to being gradually blended in as the arm reaches a forward direction. Okay, let's create a corrective shape that's using an angle driver to see how it actually works. And if we now select the shoulder control, we'll see that we now have these new attributes. The angle attributes will have values between 0 and 1, depending on which direction the controller is rotated. And note, if we do the same test we did before, which is applying rotation around this gimbal lock area, you'll see as the rotational values are making drastical jumps, the angle values are behaving as expected. Next, let's see how we can use any controller as a driver for corrective shapes. And as an example, I'll be using this controller, which is the mouth controller from the face setup part of Advanced Skeleton. I'll start off with just moving it to the side. Now if I select the mesh and hit create corrective shape, we can see that it's detected that we have applied a value of 1 to the translate X of the mouth controller. And we'll go ahead and sculpt the corrective shape. And we can see the corrective shape is being blended in as we apply that value. Next, I'll show you how the driver for the corrective shape can be a blend of various values. Let's move this controller down, translate Y, and apply the O shape. Now in this case, we want the corrective shape to be driven by the combination of these two attributes. Let's select the mesh, hit create corrective shape, and we can see that it has correctly detected that we have both the translate Y and the O attributes of the controller being the driver. And on the control, we'll see that we now have a new attribute, which is the combined result of the two input drivers, with a value varying from 0 to 1. That's it for this time. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.